Good morning and welcome to the Big Football Podcast. I'm your host, BA. I got with me Jack Hirsch, James J. Train Martin, Keith Engel from DGI Sports. I hope the gentlemen are doing very well this morning. Interesting playoff games yesterday. We got college championship to talk about for Monday. We got a couple of playoff games today. We got some other outside NFL news as well. A couple hiring. We'll talk about the John Harbaugh hiring just in review. And other than that, that's where we're going to go here for right now. And whatever we can't cover, we're going to give you a little bit of basketball and a little bit of baseball. So let's get into the first game of yesterday, which we were talking about. This is going to be
already.
Buffalo goes to Denver, and Denver emerges victorious, 33-30 in overtime. It was a well played game to a point. Yeah. We're going to talk about to the other point in a minute.
Exciting, maybe.
It was exciting. It was exciting. Well put.
Very good game.
Stretch. Yeah. So I'm going to go with Jack here because I want to get Jack's opinion on this game first. What do you think about this, Jack? How do you like the game overall?
I think the aftermath should be more on people's minds with Bo Nix out, and I'm sure we'll get into that more later for the rest of the playoffs, what the implications are going to be. And Keith doubtless would be a bit familiar with that, Jarrett Stidham, who's going to be taking over former New England Patriots starter, but he's been with Denver a couple of years. I mean, we take away a little controversy from that game. I mean, the Buffalo Bills again came up short. And let's be honest about it. This Buffalo Bill team this year wasn't quite on the level of the Buffalo Bill teams that would always come up short against the Kansas City Chiefs. Those Buffalo Bill teams probably win yesterday's game, but this version is still good. It's like a former fighter, not in the prime of his career, but what's left is still good enough to beat most opponents. And that's what this Bill team is. And we're taking away the controversy at the end of the game. I mean, the Bill fans are going to claim they were ripped off by the officials. They see the catch made by Brandon Cooks and then the ball taken away from him. Whether or not that was a legal catch or not is up to interpretation. And you know what the sad part about it is, guys? The rules are such that we don't understand them. We have an official in the booth that has to explain it to us because in all the years I've watched football, I watched football for more than a half a century, and I don't understand the rules. It's pathetic. They got to explain it to me. And I get the feeling, too, that when the official in the booth says something, it might be upheld by the guys in New York, even though that wasn't the case yesterday because there wasn't a review. I mean, to the naked eye, Brandon Cooks made the catch, and there was contact when he was on the ground when he had the ball, but you have to complete the process. You would know it well, Brian, as a Lion fan with Calvin Johnson. That was the trendsetter for controversial calls when he made a game-winning catch just for it to be taken away. But we knew it was going to be a close game, guys. We knew it was going to come down to the wire. It did come down to the wire. And even though James is going to complain about the officiating, James, more than anyone else, had a level head in the past, even with his own Saints. You have other opportunities to win the game. A lot of other opportunities to win the game. And Denver got the ball first in overtime. They didn't score. Unfortunately, the Bills had poor field possession when they, took over the ball. And they didn't get a first down. They didn't keep the chains moving where they could have won the game. And so be it. And the Bill defense kind of showed up. They didn't play badly. They played well at times. Those couple of interference calls at the end of the game. I mean, it was interference, but do you let it play on, guys? That's the thing. Was it
not that last one?
Well,
that last one was egregious. It was egregious.
Why was it egregious? The dude tackled him.
No, you're getting upset. I'm agreeing with you. I said the last one was the pass interference. He said, "Do you call?" He said, "He actually you make the call."
Just remember, there
and
was
I said,
penalties.
"Of course you make the call."
There was
an egregious
on the second.
Yeah,
one
that first one was not a good call.
But there was a penalty still because they got roughing the passer. So
yes, exactly. So it would have happened. You're right.
Yeah.
But the last one on Tre'Davious White, I'll agree with you, Jack. That was just a bad pass interference. He tackled the guy before the ball got there, and it was just and then looked around as if nothing happened. I mean,
but I would look back. Buffalo
hilarious,
has the ball with 15 seconds left in the first half. What were they going to do with it? They didn't really have enough time to get in field goal range unless they hit a long pass. And at that point, you're more likely to, have a turnover, which they had. And Denver, instead of going into the locker room up 17-10, goes up 20-10. But Buffalo did claw back. A great game that's unfortunately going to be remembered for the Brandon Cooks takeaway. And we might see a rule change on this after this. We might see a rule change.
It won't matter. We won't know the rules they put in after because we keep changing them all the time. Nobody knows what they are. You just said it yourself. We still won't know what the rules are. I'm not clear that was clearly a catch, by the way. I mean, you could have given it to him, but I just had to review it. The one thing I agree with, you have to look at that closer.
For an hour here, Scott.
Right? And listen, I'm not anti-Buffalo here today. I want Buffalo to win this game. I bet them, and I wanted to play the game at home if we should advance today. I want to go to Denver. I don't care who we're playing.
That's ridiculous.
But
I mean, it isn't ridiculous, but it is ridiculous at the same time.
I'm okay with all that call. Again, could have gone either way. Review it closer. The two interference calls, I really didn't have a problem with either one of them in overtime. There was one more egregious, and I think it was still in regulation, that they didn't call on Brandon Cooks in the end zone where he got hooked. That's more the one that got called in overtime.
Absolutely.
So again, the referees can be bad, and we know they can be bad, but don't blame it. If you're a Buffalo fan, shut up. You turned the ball over 5 times. 5 times. There was a stat that came out yesterday. I double checked it today. Teams are now 156 in playoff games with a +3, a -3 turnover margin. You're not going to win. And Josh Allen, as great as he is, there's playing aggressively and there's playing recklessly. And he played recklessly a lot yesterday, and it cost his team.
But they were very predictable, Keith. They kept running the ball with James Cook on first down. And Denver was waiting for it, and they kept stopping James Cook on first down. It was so predictable and so conservative.
I didn't understand that either myself. That was again, you're right. Basically, every first down they ran the same play. I don't get it.
Yes, I like to answer that question. Of course, he's a good quarterback, man. Yeah. Great quarterback. And, and let me say,
he does come up big in those moments.
Josh Allen, of any of games, the big games he's had in the playoff games, he hadn't turned the ball over. This is probably, of all the games he had to pick, this is the worst one he's ever had. The worst game he's had. And to me, 3 of the points that we're in overtime with is predicated on what happened at the end of the first half. Why are you being aggressive, trying to get down the field with 22 seconds left, and you turn the ball over and give, in a matter of seconds, you give them a 10-point swing. You give them a 10-point swing. They're already coming up for 7 points, and instead of you just kneeling the ball, you're going to get the ball back. You make it a 10-point deficit because you fumbled the ball. The quarterback fumbles the ball, being aggressive. But I don't blame Josh for that. I mean, obviously, I blame him for being careless with the ball, but I blame the coach. I blame coaching.
Why can't you be aggressive in that spot? I can be aggressive. Almost but not everybody, but everybody tries to run one play. If you get something, then you try to do something, right? And I think the Bills being aggressive there is okay, but you got to make sure you don't turn the ball over. I mean, again, Josh can't be absolved here because
he was bad. It was a bad turnover. That
would have been a positive play, right? But he just does something stupid with it. So.
But good morning, Sonia.
What's up?
But let me finish. Is that with all that, all the bad plays that Josh made, he still found a way to pull the cape out some kind of way to get them claw into into overtime. And again, the defense came out and Jack, you said the defense. I mean, their defense is not as good as Denver's, but they played well. They played well enough. They played well enough to slow them down and stop them. They stopped that offense. They got the ball back. They did, and contrary to what you said, Jack, they did get a first down. Davis, the running back, 22, ran for a first down, and that they got to a third down, and that's where that play came with Brandon Cooks. To me, is controversial. I will say that specifically that play. I had to look at it. I had to look at it over and over. And I guess to the naked eye, we can all have our opinions on it. It looks like a catch by the rules. By when you hit the ground, if his knee hit the ground, he's had possession of the ball there. And the other guy put his hands on the ball as well. And you can also say, let's look at it this way. Josh Allen, before the regulation ended, he could have hit Knox for a touchdown. Josh really played a bad game, man. He could have hit Knox for it was at 10 yards. The guy was wide open in the zone. He missed him. And they could have scored and ended the game right there. But that to take an opportunity away like that by not reviewing, at least to say let's review it, because if we're reviewing this and they get that call, by all intents and purposes, we're not even talking about 2 pass interferences or a hit to the quarterback, because they're not getting there. I think the game's going to end decisively by Buffalo winning the game, and that's what makes it difficult right there. But at the end of the day, Josh Allen has to be culpable for his play in the game that led to this point. So I mean, and what's really bad about this situation is that what's really bad for football to me is not the review and not having all hands on deck. So not having a quarterback in Bo Nix to play in the next game makes the game not so good, because I mean, it's unfortunate for him, and I'm sorry for him, and hope he recovers. But the Broncos fans and the rest of the organization, I'm sorry for you guys to lose your quarterback in that fashion like that after you win the game. Because I'll be honest with you, I thought it was okay. That's why I thought it was a joke, because there was no mention of it at the game at all until after the game. But I just hats off to the Broncos going forward. I just that's a tough one. That's a tough call.
Yeah, just to expound on what James is talking about, Bo Nix had broken bone in his ankle, and he didn't find out till the end of the game. Obviously, he was running on a lot of adrenaline. This is the reason why it wasn't noticed until after the game. Jason Stidham is going to come in there for him, and I don't know about that one.
We had almost 3 years, by the way.
Yeah, he's.
Would you say, Keith?
He hasn't thrown a pass in a regular season game in 3 years.
Is Drew Lock hurt?
He's been with Denver a couple of years, so that works in his favor. He's been taking reps. He's familiar with the personnel and then with him.
He's not very good.
But if Sean Payton has enough faith in him to have him as his primary backup for a couple of years, and he did beat out Zach Wilson for what it's worth for the backup position, last year. So
there's a name you can give him that rhymes with Stidham, and I'm not going to say it on TV for.
Hey, what happened to Drew Lock though?
Drew Lock's in Seattle.
Oh, that's in Seattle. That's right. Yeah. Damn it.
Yeah, he moved on to New York and then Seattle.
I'm thinking a whole damn different team. Anyway, Sonia, what was your opinion on this Buffalo-Denver game?
So it was a really good game, honestly. Just like I thought it would be. Bills, of course, everybody's been harping on them with the no Patrick Mahomes, no Lamar Jackson. So what are you going to do, Josh? And so this is one of those situations that I was talking to you guys about on Friday. I felt like it was going to be an emotional one for Buffalo because they've been there so many times and have not gotten a crown. And this was the one season in the new era, I would say, that there was, there's competition, but just the regular nemesis, the usual suspects, as they say. I was very impressed with Jaquan Miller on the defense. I mean, that was definitely what sealed the game when Josh Allen threw that interception. I always have this revisionist history, I always think, and this is a key case. Not only did Buffalo lose the game, but on the flip side, like James was saying in our chat, there's no winner. I mean, there is, but Bo is at home now, and he is the one who has advanced this team. And a season ending injury at your AFC championship is beyond heartbreaking. And to know that, but for this game going into overtime, would we still have Bo Nix? I watched some of the clips yesterday. There were glimpses of him grimacing on the sideline, but the walk off, you don't really detect it. And I guess that's what these players are trained for. They play through the adrenaline, but not only that, they're mentally thinking, hey, I'm not letting my opponent know my weakness. So we don't really know for sure when that injury actually started. Like, we could say it was overtime, or it could have been the end of the regular half, like somewhere in that neighborhood. But I do think this is bittersweet. Buffalo, of course, rallied from a 23-10 deficit. They were down. I thought they were going to get blown all the way out for a little bit. Then they took the lead in the fourth quarter. But that late 50-yard field goal by Matt Prater was the only thing that actually put them into overtime. So kudos to him. Special teams to the rescue. I think right now, like the rest of you all say, with Stidham coming in, Keith said he hasn't even played in the last 3 seasons. This is a big stage, and for him to make a debut after all this time. But, hopefully, like Jack said, and I think all of you guys were saying, he's been sitting and throwing reps here and there. So hopefully he has enough in him to at least make it a competitive game. And who knows? It is any given Sunday, barring anything further injury related from any team. We just don't know who's going to show up. So, but it is I felt really bad for Broncos fans because this would have been their first time, and we still don't know. This would be their first time since 2015, same time the Panthers were there, if they make it to the Super Bowl. So bittersweet all around. So that was a big blow. But yeah, 33-30, a thriller, not in Manila.
Yeah, the things that are coming out from this game, I mean, Josh Allen, let me ask you a question. Buffalo as a team. I think Jack hit it on the head a little bit too about the fact that this team really isn't as good as their previous teams that they've had gone into the playoffs. And Josh Allen had to be Superman this year because a lot of times he had to make plays because either him or James Cook. Now, I'm not taking nothing away from James Cook. James Cook did an awesome job in that game, as a matter of fact. But when you have your receivers, somebody just mentioned either what happened to Keon Coleman and what's going on with him in Buffalo. He's just a disciplinarian. Something's going on between him and McDermott. It's just not. He's in a doghouse basically for some reasons that nobody really understands. But and he's a good receiver. It's just that they're not going to him because of his acts. To his he's a good receiver.
He dropped the ball in the end zone that unfortunately was a penalty.
A lot of receivers drop the ball in the end zone and are good receivers, but that's besides the point. It's just the fact that they got all that going on. Their defense isn't really that great. I mean, they had a number 1 pass defense, but when you can't stop the run, I've been saying this before. If you can't stop the run in the playoffs, it's kind of not good for you. And he's
yesterday, actually.
Oh yeah, but also Josh Allen can't be carrying the team all the time. It's supposed to be a team sport, and he's been mainly carrying his team the whole season. If you look at it, this is the reason why they're calling him Superman. Superman carries a team. So I mean, if he does bad, it's over.
James Cook
yesterday he did.
James Cook led the NFL in rushing the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. He's not there alone. Shakir, a lot of his passing yardage is, and I'm not taking anything away from Josh Allen. I believe Josh Allen is one of the best players and quarterbacks in the NFL. He's not responsible totally for this loss, and he's not totally responsible for this offense. Last week against Jacksonville, Shakir catches 7 balls behind the line of scrimmage and gets 100 yards after the catch. He's a very good wide receiver. So it's not just Allen. I mean, James Cook is one of the best players in the league as well. So I don't the narratives about the window closing on Buffalo, I think is a little premature. They need schooling on the defense, the offensive line. They need some and some more weapons. But you got Josh Allen, James Cook. The window's not closed.
And if you have those two plus Sean McDermott as the coach, because Josh Allen is still in his prime. That's the key right there. You got a quarterback still in his prime that can still move not only with his arm, but with his legs. But I want to expound on what you said about Keon Coleman and just give you some things here. Keon Coleman was an okay receiver at Florida State. He had good like 50-50 balls. He's one of those type of guys. He can run decent. He's not fast. He can run decent, but he's a big receiver and he can get the ball, but he's not a great route runner. He's an average route runner. And he's still doing the same things at this juncture of his career, which is year number two in the pros as what he was doing in college. And he was picked, at the end of the first round or right at the top of the second?
That's kind of
like, that's kind of the level of like, okay, we need you to do a lot better than this. You got to step it up and to have some maturity issues that are off the field, whatever's going on inside. I mean, where they're making you a healthy scratch. They're making you a healthy scratch. That's not a good sign there. And that's just like, okay, you need to grow up a little bit and start showing and work on your craft. This is your job. This is not like college. This is your job. You got to do better, man. And I think he can. He has the potential, but it's just not showing itself. And like you saw, I mean, he dropped the ball, Jack, in the end zone, but the next play that awesome play he had where he was diving for the touchdown. I mean, you see the talent is there. He just need to be consistent.
But his teammates were reacting positively to him on the field. It looked like they all had it together in that sense. And I noticed when he came back to the sideline, Sean McDermott gave him a pat on the back, like encouragement. So if there was any disciplinary thing going on, chances are McDermott would have just ignored him at that moment and let the assistant coaches deal with him.
I think this game came down to. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Keith.
I was just saying, and yet that was his last touch of the day.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think this game came down to the turnovers, you guys. Those were big turnovers, crucial turnovers. Of course, Keon Coleman, this was a good sophomore race for him, but like James said, he's got to work on some things, but it's his second year. He did have 8 total touchdowns for the season, so that's actually good for him, I guess, and growing. But the crucial catch, there is no redemptive catches in the playoffs. You miss one catch, that's game over. So coming back and making the catch later on, okay, kudos to you. But now we see what the other side of that is. 5 turnovers by Josh Allen is insane in a game that big. And so the fact that he,
well, not all 5 around him. One was on James Cook. He fumbled the ball too.
Oh, that was a big hit, man. It's almost hard to even say that you can blame James Cook. That was a textbook.
I blame him. Hold on to the ball. That's all you gotta do. Hold on to the ball. James Cook better than that. Come on, but James Cook leads in a lot of fumbles too.
There's so many different elements too. Buffalo was taking a lot of time off the clock in the fourth quarter when they were up 1 point, and they were driving. It looked like for a touchdown. And if you kick the extra point, you're up by 8 points. And if you go for the 2-point conversion, it's a 2-score game, and now you basically got it. And their drive stalled, and they kicked a field goal. And then Denver had the ball left with a little more than 4 minutes and drove for a touchdown. You got the feeling when they settled for the field goal, even though they went up by 4 points, you got the feeling Denver was going to score a touchdown, take it down the field, and they did. And they got the ball back with 55 seconds, and they tied it up. But I think the key thing is when they took all that time off the clock and settled for the field goal and left, 4 minutes for Denver, to march down the field. I think people forget about that.
That's why I can't get terribly excited about the calls at overtime that went against Buffalo and say that's why they lost the game, because they could have won the game right there. They gone for 2. The game's over. The game's over.
I agree.
So, you had your
kind
team.
of reminds me, Keith, the young New England Patriots, their second Super Bowl loss to the Giants. That's the only thing I ever put on Tom Brady. They needed a couple of more first downs. Giants never would have gotten the ball back to come back. In that second Super Bowl, they beat New England then.
I'm straight about the NFL. So what a shoulda.
Jack is going to always remind you of what your team
No,
did.
Can't do, right? The loss.
No. If I ever put anything on a player, if I was sitting with Tom Brady, the only one of the 3 Super Bowls he lost, I told him that's the only one that you could be a little hard on yourself. Not the loss to the Eagles, not the first loss to the Giants. You put
the whole
your team ahead.
history.
You needed 1 or 2 first downs, and that would have done it, at that point. And sometimes it is on the player.
Right.
I mean, we can't keep taking things off players and say, oh, it's not their fault, other situations. Sometimes it is on them, and we should hold them accountable no matter how great they are. Like you, James,
No doubt.
Josh Allen, we have to hold them accountable. To me, at this moment,
I said that.
Quarterback in the NFL. You did say it, and I agree with you. But we have to hold Josh Allen somewhat accountable. He did a lot of good things yesterday. I'm not saying he's the reason they lost, but it wasn't one of his better games. Josh Allen has a right to be hard on himself without us saying it's not you, Josh. It was a team loss with the Bills, and he was partly responsible for it.
He took the blame at the podium, and I respect him for it because by all intents and purposes, it was on him. It was on him because quarterbacks will take. I mean, it's a team game, mind you, but those turnovers, 2 of them were egregious by him, and they were just bad. One bad interception at the end to the corner, the safety. That was a great play by the safety, but the ball was short, and even the catch to Brandon Cooks. If he'd have led him more, Brandon had to stop the ball. If he led him more, that's a catch. That's definitely a catch. So yes,
I'll defend him. He looks like he's playing. He looked like he was playing hurt, Josh.
That's a part of the game. It's part of the game. It's part of the game.
Now, Keith, I know you said you didn't. We talked about the 22 seconds they had left on the clock, and Buffalo was going to get the ball. I'm kind of the opposite of you on that. They shouldn't have done anything. I mean, if they're going to try to get a first down, try running the ball first. See how many yards you can get. Don't put yourself. I mean, and you're still putting yourself in a high risk of a turnover and being that part of the game. I just wouldn't have done that. I don't know if that was a coaching decision that was bad. It's to me that should never happen. I would have sat on the ball. I'm just sorry. I wouldn't have done that. I would have waited until the second.
To try to be Superman there either. That's what I'm saying. Again,
and that's true. You got to hold on to the ball. You can't be, holding the ball out with one hand while you're running. That's just a recipe for disaster right there. But yeah, I probably he wouldn't have been in that situation had he sat in the ball. So
ultimately, in the game, that was the deciding factor for those 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
That we probably not even in overtime if they don't get that extra 3 points right there.
I agree with Jack. The eating up of that fourth quarter clock, Buffalo was sure because we see teams do this all the time. They eat up the clock because they're just so intent that either they can hold on to the victory by just eating up the clock and making sure they just basically keep getting first downs. We see it, just keep resetting their downs, or they are setting up for the final score. Just either purpose is to ensure that the opponent does not receive the ball back. And right there, it ended up biting them because by them eating up so much time, they didn't have enough time back to kind of re-brace themselves from the errors that they were making. So I agree that clock ended up working against them, even though they were using it advantageous.
Well, I mean, and to Danny's point, even take away the Joe Montana's 4 Super Bowls. I'm just saying that Josh Allen, up to that point, didn't have any turnovers in his playoff runs until that game. So Josh Allen, I think sometimes what people don't understand, Josh Allen can either be the reckless Superman Josh Allen or the Superman Josh Allen. This one, he was a reckless Superman Josh Allen because he was just throwing it all over the field, into tight spots where he usually don't do that. If you're just moving down the field, I know it's a playoff game. You're out if you don't win the game, but Josh knows better than that. And there's a couple of throws he knew better not to throw. And the running with the ball, way out there, that's egregious. He knows better than that, too. You should be taking care of the ball. I mean, Josh Allen is not a bad quarterback. Because he had a bad game, do not wreck him. because
he's
it
a
takes
great
to-
quarterback.
Yeah, he's a great
Does a good
quarterback.
chance. He's maybe the best quarterback in the NFL. I mean, no one's knocking how great he is. I mean, we
No.
know that.
Well, there's
It's-
fans that are dragging him because they think it's his fault. They
yeah,
lost
I mean,
his
That's
game.
goofy.
Yeah,
That's
it is.
goofy.
They don't know what they're talking about in most cases. I mean, yeah, with everything coming on social media, and but the thing about it is, Josh Allen going forward, are we going to look at him the way we looked at John Elway till he won the Super Bowl? Are we going to look at him, compare him to Dan Marino? If Marino had won a couple of Super Bowls, we might be saying he was the best ever. But
You're gonna put him in the same category as people have put Lamar Jackson in. Until you get to that next step in the Super Bowl, there's gonna be questions about whether or not you could be great in regular season, but if you're not getting past the AFC Championship or divisional rounds, I mean there was questions like that in regards to Peyton Manning, and I mean this dude's a great. I mean that's been throughout his whole career, even in college. He never won a big game in college. He got into the league. He threw the most interceptions in his rookie season. I mean, whatever. It is what it is. He had great offenses, and New England was their kryptonite. They were in their way. Finally gets over the hump in 2007. It's just going to be you got to get over the hump. That's what it is. Or there's going to always be some asterisks or question marks about who you are. Like Jack just said, how you look at them, either John Elway or Dan Marino. As great as you are, I mean, you could I'm gonna pull a Jack here. We're talking about Barry Sanders. It never got to a Super Bowl, but one of the greatest running backs in the history of the game. But it's going to always be an asterisk there somewhere. Like this guy never got an opportunity to get to the big dance.
It's different for quarterbacks, so they get.
Yeah.
It is much different
Yeah,
for quarterbacks.
I agree.
And on top of that, this is the reason why I tell you, when people mention quarterbacks and wins and losses, no, don't do that, because there's great quarterbacks out there that have teams that they just can't get there because the team can't get there. Josh Allen, over the years, the reason why he hasn't got to the point that he's had flawless playoffs, but his defense has let him down in every single one of those playoff games that it mattered. And we got to look at that too. This is a team. It's a team sport. Stop blaming the quarterbacks that are doing a good job all the time for the team. It's not their fault. It's not totally their fault. They're not getting to the Super Bowl. It takes a team effort to do that. And I think
to some degree, I agree with that. To some degree with that, because I'm going to give you an example where Danny Fuller pulled the 49er, Joe Montana, 4 no interceptions and 4 Super Bowl wins. I mean, that team was complete. Mm-hmm. Those 4 years. I mean, especially 88 and 89, they were unstoppable. I mean, there was nobody in their way, and they were complete. I agree with you. It's to that sense. And if you're comparing here, because that run defense finally showed itself for the Buffalo Bills here, not having a really good one. And
aren't we all fans of?
Yeah, but in a way, it'll be considered, to me, criminal. Could you imagine the Super Bowl winning quarterback this year is Sam Darnold, Caleb Williams, DJ Stroud, and they get there and they have the Super Bowl win? Jarrett Stidham and not Josh Allen. In a way, it's criminal when you think of it.
Well, I guess that kind of segues into the next game. That's just kind of segue into the next game.
Well, just one more question just before we get off this game.
I didn't know there was another game.
I mean, do you think Sean McDermott's job is on the hot seat?
No. He leaves on his own if he leaves. That's the only way he leaves.
It's just hard to find a coach. It's hard to find a really good, stable coach. I mean, it's tough to lose. I mean, who are you going to – that's the question. Who are you going to get to replace him? Who are you going to get to replace him this year? That's proven.
Why were you even mentioning it? I mean, why should he be in any job difficulty? Come on. I mean, people were saying that about
Matt LaFleur.
They've been saying that about Sean McDermott for the last 3 fans alike, whatever the case may be.
Every year he was successful. He was successful this year. I mean, they went 12-5, won a playoff game. they didn't quite meet their goal, but it's hard. I mean, everyone's becoming like Keith Angle, who wants to fire the Yankee manager Aaron Boone. I mean, come on.
You want to have that conversation? I'm ready.
But anyway, okay, so let's go to the next game, which was San Francisco at Seattle. Everybody thought this was going to be a pretty close game. Oops. From the get-go, as soon as they ran that touchdown all the way back for the kickoff, I said, this game's over. This game's over.
You know, Sonia, I like
it's
Sonia's
over already.
messages about leaving the game early. She saw it was going to be a blowout and didn't want to waste time, wanted to get to bed early. And I didn't stay till the end of the game. I
didn't either. What a
checked
crap
out
show.
first, and I checked out after. I mean, you know, sometimes a team does come back, and the Niners did chip away a little bit in the first half, but I think the tone was set with the opening kickoff when Seattle returned it all the way, and the crowd going crazy. I mean, that set the tone.
Mm-hmm.
The defense was smothering. I mean, they were. I heard a comment because I did stay up, unfortunately, to watch almost all of this game. But in the fourth quarter, they were talking about they had charted Purdy's yardage, trying to stay away from the rush. It was like 400 yards he'd rush behind the line of scrimmage last night. That's unfathomable.
That's crazy.
And let me tell you something. You gotta give kudos to Walker.
He's been great.
Charbonnet went out,
Great.
and he's being evaluated for an injury right now too. But he came in there and just took over the game. I mean, that dude was all over the place. You know, you got to give it to him. He's been turning it on lately too. I don't know what's been lighting the fire up under his butt, but he's been turning it on lately. So
Kenneth Walker coming out of Michigan State was a dominant runner, man. I just thought at some point I thought he would eventually turn it on, man. Yeah, I mean, what I expected from him. And kudos to him also. I'm going to expound on what you said with him. He looked for Christian McCaffrey at the end of the game. He said, "Where's McCaffrey?" He went to go find him and shake his hand and give him a hug and give him some comforting words. That's just good sportsmanship. We talked about this yesterday on the sports show, debate show, and sometimes I can see why fans are happy and ecstatic about it. I'm not going to be up in arms if somebody doesn't go shake somebody's hand about anything. But if it happens, that's a great thing. It's just icing on the cake. I'm not, these guys, their adrenaline is high off the roof at the end of the game. I'm not expecting them to be like kosher and coming towards each other and hug and kumbaya.
Again.
Momentum.
Yes. I'm not going to bring that up.
Randy is hammering that hole. He is hammering that hole.
The one word, Danny keeps mentioning the word momentum with me. And I get tired of hearing the word. You hear all these commentators. I even got mad at Tom Brady yesterday. He's saying the 49ers need to get a little momentum going. They need points. That's what you need. You need points first, not the momentum. You need points.
That comes off of momentum, Jack.
See, Jack.
Let me say this. Go ahead, Keith.
Every show, Jack talks about momentum. He just never says the word. He doesn't
always use that word
over and over again. But he never.
Yeah, he's always talking about it. Just don't use the word. You got it right on the nose, right there. Yep.
I'm going to say this about this game and say this about these two teams. One had been decimated by injuries, and I think they got to the point to where they can get to. This is where they can finally get. They met an almost perfect team in Seattle. Seattle, in all intents and purposes and all aspects of their game. I mean, the special teams right off the bat, 95-yard touchdown. And you know what? I'm going to say that kicker, that was a little bit of a dirty play, reaching your foot out to kick. I mean,
yeah.
That's a little dirty.
Yeah, that's an automatic.
Come on, Jack. You do not tripping is. I mean, for somebody that's had. For somebody that has soft tissue injuries and Rashid Shaheed, I don't know if he knows that or not, but to go and try to kick a guy that's had that. I mean, if you can't make the play, just pretend like you're a kicker for guys.
A lot of times that's instinct. It happens so quick. He doesn't anticipate a guy running by him, breaking free like that. That was more an instinct.
Jack
I
opened the
guess.
Pandora's box to
What?
momentum now.
I guess.
You're talking about momentum.
With that
Thanks,
said,
Jack.
I think that Seattle is probably the best team in football right now, and I think that if they meet, I mean, obviously, if they meet in the Super Bowl by whoever they beat, the question is, can Sam Darnold live up to the hype? I mean, not hype, but can he get past his demons? That's the question. I mean, Sam Darnold played a good game here, but I'm still gonna. I don't trust him fully because I got to see him now win the game because of how good his team is. You can't lose because of Sam Darnold, is what I'm saying.
I don't think they're demons. He doesn't have demons, Sam Darnold. He hasn't been good enough for demons. He had that great year last year, but it wasn't demons. The question whether he's good enough to get it done. It's not
okay.
demons.
Okay,
we talk about demons and mention Josh Allen with the playoffs not getting to the Super Bowl. You could use that word. The question
Fair
is,
enough.
can Sam Darnold go out and win a game? When you look at all the remaining quarterbacks left in the playoffs, the only one I fully trust 100% is Matthew Stafford. He's the only one I have 100% faith in. I think Drake May is going to be a great quarterback, but he hasn't proven it yet. He hasn't gotten there. CJ Stroud might go to the Hall of Fame, but he's still got to get it done. I know what Matthew Stafford can do. Matthew Stafford, chances are he's going to deliver. Whether the Rams advance or not, that's the other question. They're not going to lose because of Matthew Stafford, but with all the other quarterbacks, you can't quite say that.
I just feel this, and I'm actually proud that Sam Darnold has matured the way he has so far, because you have to think about, at least this was my opinion, when Sam started serving as a backup, where was it? Minnesota? No, not Minnesota. When he went to, was it the 49ers or the Rams?
You could go back to days with the Jets.
Yeah, I was going to start there. Don't worry, I'm going back there.
No.
But I wanted to talk about how he ended up in a backup position, to go from number one to number two. How often do we see quarterbacks that are active, not those that have gone, on and they call them back out or whatever? How often do we see quarterbacks actually go back to the number one position and literally take the entire league by storm? Like Jack said, Sam Darnold and the Jets, I remember when the Panthers acquired him, everybody was like, why? Why? He did not look good with the Jets. Why do we have him? Then he got us 5 wins. You know how the Panthers do. We got excited about those 5 wins. And then it was, here's Sam Darnold. Christian McCaffrey goes down with an injury. And then so does Sam. And then the season is a wrap. But we're like, okay, here's Sam. Then we see him in Minnesota. So now we're at 3 teams. So you see what I'm saying? He's becoming a journeyman. And then we see him in these elements where he has a mistake like he did earlier in the season, but it's not enough. That hiccup is not enough to keep him actually down this year. We've seen him actually reach a level of performance and maturity that we have not seen out of Sam Darnold in the past. And so I have to actually give him, kudos, because I kept saying, where is Carolina Sam Darnold? Okay, yeah, they won this game, but where's Carolina Sam Darnold? Where's the Jets Sam Darnold? But I think he's reached a level of top tier performance that he is actually there now. And so kudos to him, because I haven't seen him. I've seen some, little trivial mistakes, but it has not been enough to slam their entire season. So, I mean, Jack, you have to agree, especially with him starting with you guys. It's been a long time.
Well, this is his 5th team. And keep in mind, when he went to the Panthers, they got him to be their starting quarterback. He couldn't hold on to the position.
Yep.
With the Niners, he was a backup. He wasn't going to
yeah.
start ahead of Brock Purdy. The Niners made the right decision to stay with Brock Purdy as their starter, not Sam Darnold. That was absolutely the right decision. And then he went to the Vikings, and he was supposed to just be a bridge quarterback, and he was for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
But he had an outstanding season. But his last 2 games with the Vikings were horrendous. Even Troy Aikman, who knows a lot about quarterbacking than any of us here, was exasperated watching Sam Darnold.
Mm-hmm.
And but then he went to Seattle. But let's be honest about it. If Drew Lock was the quarterback, chances are Seattle would be successful as well this year. I'm nearly as successful as they've been, even then, taking nothing away from Sam Darnold, who's had, an outstanding season and should be the Seattle franchise quarterback going forward.
Yeah, he will be. They didn't ask him to do a lot last night. Let's be fair, right? He didn't have to do a lot.
He didn't have to. That O-line they are assassins.
I like what Sam Darnold has done and turned his career around. I'm happy for Sam Darnold. And I've tried to defend him here and there against some people in Minnesota who
I know they're kicking out.
Yeah.
But he really hasn't had to step up and carry this team. And I don't think he can. If he had to carry this team, I think it'd be a different story.
And that's where I agree with Keith. I agree with Keith there. I just think that what you saw in Minnesota, where he had to do that, he failed royally at the end. And that's the thing. Yeah, so you can't – that's why I said – that's why I brought up that I can't trust him until I see him win. Because you got to follow up through this game. You got a team now that's great on all aspects. They can't lose because of you is what I'm saying. They can't lose because of you. So if it comes down that you're meeting a team in the Super Bowl that's match you for every aspect, and it depends on you, I gotta wait and see if Sam Darnold could step up to that level and say, I'm going to take over the game and win the game, considering I was number 3 overall when I was picked in the NFL. Can you live up to that height is what I'm saying. That's where it matters.
You said it perfect, James. They want a quarterback that can go out and win the game. Jalen Hurts didn't do it last week for the Eagles. He's a proven commodity. He had an opportunity, go out, win the game for your team. You just don't manage the game. And all those quarterbacks are going to be in that spot. The remaining playoff games, these quarterbacks are going to be put in the spot, at least in a couple of games where they're going to have to go out and win the game. I think Drake May could deliver, but he's going to be forced to against the Houston defense. C.J. Stroud might be forced to. Tonight's game, I know Matthew Stafford is more than capable of going out and winning a game. He has nothing to prove at all. He's proven it over his career. Caleb Williams, okay, he did it against the Packers, but he's going to have to probably do it tonight. Go out and win the game. He can't just manage the game for the Bears tonight. And we'll see, is he up to it or not?
He did last week. Caleb Williams won that game for the Bears last week. So he's been there and he's already done it.
He did. And he's capable of, but he's going to be forced to, I think, tonight.
Yeah.
And they got to have a complete 4 quarters, at least 2 or 3 quarters. You can't win the game and with 25 points against the Rams in the 4th quarter. You can't do that. You got to play a little bit better game than that.
We'll be getting to those games in a moment here. But San Francisco and Seattle, yeah, that was a laugher. I was just surprised. 41-6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I didn't expect that. I did not expect that.
You're not going to tell me the bye didn't help Seattle. Well rested, a couple of weeks off, raring to go at home. It just shows you how valuable the bye is. Look, even Buffalo and Denver. Had Buffalo been the team coming off the bye, not having to play in 2 weeks, being at home as opposed to playing last week, close game with Jacksonville, and then going to Denver. The buys make a difference. You just
not all the time.
No, not all the time. A lot of time they don't, but it's definitely a major advantage. That's the point I want to make. You only have to win 2 games at home to go to the Super Bowl. Denver, even with the injury to Bo Nix, is only 1 game away from the Super Bowl. Seattle, they weren't even pushed yesterday. They're only 1 game away from the Super Bowl. They're going to have the next game at home. I mean, you don't have to travel. You don't have to travel. You're in the comfort of having the home games, and you're playing 1 less game. The buys are valuable. Look at New England. They had to beat the Chargers last week. Tough opponent, even though it wasn't that close of a game. And now they have a tough matchup against the Houston defense. And then they're going to have to go to Denver. next week if they do beat Houston. And even with Bo Nix out, it's, tough in Denver, with the altitude and all.
Well, we're going to get to the first game of today's playoff implications here. First game is Houston at New England. I know Keith's got a big thing in this one because his Patriots are in it. I'm going to go to you real quick, Sonia, because I know you and Keith are about to depart here. Keith, for your stream of conscious at 9 a.m. Tune into him. And Sonia's got church, so she's got to go churching. So Sonia, well, let me go to Keith first because he's the Patriot fan.
Sonia's done more important than Keith. I just want to make that comment.
Listen, I am an ordained minister. I just want to make clear I am an ordained minister, and we do a little bit of praying.
Is that true, sir? Or you're not joking, are you?
I'm actually an ordained
Reverend Keith.
That's right. Didn't you marry somebody? You married somebody? That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Mac used to call Keith Reverend Keith sometimes.
Yeah.
So
we did. I remember that. Yes, now I remember it. Yes.
Oh, I have to remember that you're ordained, Keith.
I can make it official if you guys, anybody needs my service.
I just need prayer sometimes. I'll call you up for that.
You guys get the family discount too. So.
Yes.
Oh, there's a discount? Okay. Anyway, Keith, what's your views on this game? I mean, I know who you are picking to win, but what kind of, let me put it to you, what scares you in this game about
the pass rush of the Texans scares the bejesus out of me, and also that secondary. We talk about the pass rush a lot with the Texans, but the secondary's really good. Derek Stingley Jr. is a shutdown quarterback. He's very, very good. And this defense scares me. I think we're going to see something very similar to last week. I think I'm not going to be a lot of touchdowns scored. It could be a 16-6, 16-10 game. And of course, when we expect that, we'll probably get all kinds of points, but we may get some snow too yet. I didn't check the weather yet today, but yesterday they were calling for a little bit of snow potentially in Foxborough today. We'll see. It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. It's going to be tough to throw the ball. Drake May's got to take care of the ball better than he did last week. He got a snot beat out of him last week against a good Charger defense, but he was able to overcome 3 mediocre to bad quarters and play a great fourth quarter, and they found a way to win the game. That's
nasty.
That's smart. That's what quarterbacks can do when they mature, right? And I keep saying, I'm not comparing him to Tom Brady, but those are the things a Brady type quarterbacks would do. They play bad for 3 quarters of the game and find a way to beat you in the fourth quarter. They're going to have to do something similar today. I don't expect, again, a lot of points. I don't expect the Texans to score 2 points or 2 touchdowns on defense tonight. But I think they'll be all over May. And I think we need to run the football, and the Texans have stopped the run pretty well this year as well. I don't see. I hear a lot of talk about the Texans and this great defense and the 2001 Ravens. What they don't have is they don't have that 2,000-yard running back on this team. They don't run the ball very well at all. That's why they have to rely on C.J. Stroud. He's missing Nico Collins today. And Gonzalez is a go for the Patriots. Huge turn of events there in my mind for the Patriots and against the Texans. So I don't expect this to be easy. I expect a close game, but I think that the Patriots will win and even cover the spread. So
I agree with you, Keith. I'm gonna agree with that real quick while he's on here. I just think that the biggest point of emphasis you mentioned there was not having Nico Collins in the game and not having a running game. I think we talked about this on Friday night with the fellas. I think that Joe Mixon is going to be missed this game. This is where it comes down to Woody Marks and Nick Chubb. They've done a decent job, not good by it, just okay. They've done okay. It's been a mediocre run game, for lack of better words. I just think that they have a great defense. They have an excellent defense, but even the best defenses can get tired at some point. And I think that yes, I thought Sonya went first.
No,
Sonya did not.
He literally told me to say something. You cut me off. So
no, before Keith. You said to go before Keith, right?
No, Keith went
Okay.
first because he's the
James,
Patriots fan.
James, you cut the line. It was Sonia's was online. You cut ahead.
My
of her.
apologies. I mean, forgive me. I must have zoned out or something. I apologize to Sonia and to
You're
the
still
fans
thinking
out there.
you're still thinking about the process of the catch. I understand.
One more thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut back in the line real quick for Sonia because I left out one thing. We talk about the Texans defense. The Patriots defense is playing really, really well. They played good all year. They played exceptionally well the last 3 weeks. And Williams getting back on that defensive line and healthy has made a huge difference in his defense. And that's going to be another key factor in this game. And Vrabel might get another bloody lip at the end from Williams. So go ahead.
Well, you vote.
Go ahead, Sonia. My apologies.
No, it's okay. Were you done with your thought? I don't want to interrupt
I'm
you.
done. I'm done.
No, James.
Oh, James
Oh,
got
well-
better.
James has got plenty of thoughts up there.
Okay,
He'll be
so-
okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
First of all, yeah, because I wanted to get mine out too before Keith hops off. And it's supposed to actually snow here in Atlanta. They're calling for flurries, believe it or not. So I guess it's snowing everywhere. There actually is in different areas, but I don't see any at my house, but we'll see. All right, so I think the biggest story to watch out for, I think for real, I think the Patriots will pull this off, but you can't just count the Texans out. The big thing is going to be, of course, everybody's rah for Drake May. But CJ Stroud is looking to reverse. He's got a history of road playoff struggles. And so you got to look at that. The first thing, they got to stop. Basically, the Patriots are going to have to stop the terrifying, like Keith said, it's terrifying. The edge duo of Will Anderson Jr. and Daniel Hunter, those two together combined for 27 sacks in the regular season. So you got to look out for those dudes if you're Drake May. Campbell struggled in the wild card round, though. If you look at that, allowing 6 pressures, and then just the numbers, the way everything is coming, you got to look at the stats overall and see how everybody's performed during the regular season. Of course, we know everybody's beat up, banged up this time of year. It always happens. But if the Texans are collapsed or whatever early in their pocket, if that's looking bad for them, it's going to possibly neutralize the deep passing game that the Patriots have. The other thing you got to look out for is the turnover battle. The Texans entered plus 17 for the turnover differential. They're second in the NFL, and Stroud himself actually struggled last week against the Steelers despite getting the win. So if the Patriots defense actually stands up and does what they need to do, they've been lights out as of lately, only allowing teams most of the time 3 points in their wild card win, most recently against the Chargers. Then you can look that they will just build upon that to basically go into today's game. Then, of course, we got all the rah around Drake May. The red zone is what you guys are going to be looking for. Can Drake actually convert and make all those third down conversions when it's crucial as most? For the Patriots to definitely pull out the win, though, they're going to have to definitely, in my opinion, try to keep the offense off the field. I feel like this is going to be one of these wear and tear games where the defense is worn down on one side and the offense is going to be tired on the other. It's going to come down to who's the most exhausted in the end. But Drake May cannot make any errors in the red zone. That's going to be the big thing because that's what Texans have been capitalizing on all season long. Of course, he'll probably rely on Hunter Henry for that. And let's not count out Stephon Diggs to move those chains. So that's what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be a close one. I'm saying maybe 9-7, low scoring because of the defense on the Texans.
Wake up, Jack.
No, I mean that. I'm waiting for James to cut the line here again. I mean,
If I cut the line for you, sir, if I cut the line for you,
Sonia gave a solid analysis. James is still mad about the call on Cooks yesterday in the Buffalo game.
He's still thinking about that play.
if I hold on, because I didn't even get to finish mine. Because I let Sonia go because I interrupted her. I cut her. Well, I'm just saying because I totally made a mistake there. But with what Jack said, come on, please, man. If I cut you, Jack, I wouldn't have any problems with it because sometimes you need to be cut, sir.
I've been cut from
Jack the Ripper.
All of it before. I'm kind of like Sam Darnold in a way. That's I can relate to him. But I am picking Houston to win this game. There was just a comment that was made there. But the thing that bothers me about picking Houston, how are they gonna get their points? I'm counting on CJ Stroud to show up and play really, really well. CJ Stroud can't show up and just play a so-so game. He just can't do it. And what is weapons? He has Nick Chubb. And you get the feeling at this point in his career that Nick Chubb is kind of like a very good part-time player. But if you look at the amount of yards he's averaged per carry this year, he's still highly effective. They're going to have to count on him a little more. The absence of Nico Collins, that's a big one. That's a big one. That's CJ Sprout's security blanket. Christian Kirk is going to be, I think, his primary weapon in this game. CJ Stroud's going to have to make plays with his legs. He's not the most mobile guy at times as well. And the Houston secondary is going to have to play really, really well. I have no doubt that they're going to put a lot of pressure on Drake May, that they're going to be able to stop the Patriots run, but they can't allow Drake May to hit on big plays. It can't be a big play situation where Drake May hits on a 65-yard touchdown pass, something like that. They have to force the Patriots to grind all game. And if they do, I think the Texan defense is up to the task, and they'll stop the Patriots in the big spots and win this game. Close game, something like 20-16, I think, when all's said and done. But they're going to have to find a way to generate points, the Texans.
Nick Chubb has not had a good year, man. I guess I want to say Nick Chubb has not had a good year, and I think that Drake May has been a great quarterback in regards to his passing average and completion percentage, and that's going to be tough. I mean, I love the fact that there's the cornerback Stingley, he's back there, and Lassiter back there, but I like Keyshawn Boutte and I like Stephon Diggs to play really good games because
I underbid my score. It's going to be in the like 20 something. My bad, guys. So yeah,
who you picking?
I underbid. I said
9-7. Man, those offenses. They heard you talking, Sonia. They would be
before we go. Hold up,
but I do like the Patriots.
Hold up,
I like the
Patriots.
Hold up
before we go any further. I'm sorry, James. I didn't mean to cut you off, and Jack, I didn't mean to cut you off. But Sonia's got to go churching, and Keith's got to get to his Stream of Conscience show. Just check that out. We will be truncating this show to 1 hour next week, so you will not miss, or if you stay with us, you will not miss any of Keith's Stream of Consciousness. And for those that go over to his platform, now is your time. Anyway,
thanks, guys, for having me. Good luck, Keith.
Yes, ma'am. Of course.
Keith, I got you. I got your Patriots, Chief.
Thank you. And give me the Bears tonight, too. I'll give you that on my way out the door.
23-20 is my score prediction.
Give me the Bears.
Houston, New England game?
Yes.
Okay.
You got the Patriots?
I'm out of here.
Yeah, she's got the Patriots.
Patriots, yes.
Okay, cool.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
Have a good church.
Y'all too. Be blessed.
Take care, Sonia.
92 yards against.
Well, a comment was made about CJ Stroud, and I am a little concerned. I'm thinking of the quarterback in his rookie year. He was a sensation. Last year, he was so-so. This year, at times he shows up, at times he doesn't. He made a ton of mistakes against the Steelers, in that game as well, that he can't afford to make it New England. And we'll see what CJ Stroud are we going to get. I have faith in him still. I have a lot of faith in him that he's going to be an elite quarterback going forward. But this is it. It's not a regular season game. You just can't afford a so-so game at New England. You can only rely on your defense so much. And I know teams win and they go to the Super Bowl sometimes by playing it close to the vest. Like the New England Patriot team that got massacred by the Chicago Bears in the Super Bowl, they played it very close to the vest. They never opened things up, with their coach Ray Berry. They ran the ball a lot, tight defense, very few turnovers, very little margin for error. maybe Houston can use that formula, but I somehow feel in the modern NFL, you got to do a little more. You can't count on winning a 10-7 type game. Have your defense just pressure Drake May all game and shut him down. And we'll see. And they're the elements of the big plays. Just one big play turns the whole narrative of the game around. Imagine New England returns a kickoff all the way for TD the way Seattle did yesterday. What's the thought process then? You're playing from behind. You're kind of pressing a little bit.
Go ahead, James.
Hey, Jack. I was going to say, Jack, can you let the ducks outside? It seems like you got to use the restroom.
They were worse before, I'm telling you. I'm telling you to shut up. Now you know why I was so quiet for a while. I wasn't falling asleep. I was waiting for the ducks, the birds to leave here. They're getting into a fight.
You get the ducks on a podcast.
To argue who's going to win today's game.
They disagree with your take on the game, is what they're arguing about.
I'm going to tell you, so far, it hasn't
protest
been that
outside
bad.
his window.
I'm not that bad. I'm 6-2, but it feels a lot worse so far in the games. I picked Denver and Seattle, the two games I've had wrong. So if I picked Jacksonville to beat Buffalo, that was a toss-up game. And the Eagles over the 49ers was a terrible pick. Not picking the Eagles, picking them to win by 3 touchdowns turned out to be an absolute fiasco. So that one pick itself is worth canceling 3 or 4 of my good picks because it turned out. If I picked the Eagles to win by 10 points, okay. But to pick them to win by 21, totally discounted the 49ers. But if you looked at the 49er team yesterday, man, they were bad all in all. I mean, come on.
Yeah, they weren't themselves, that's for sure.
I just think, we're talking about those two teams. One had a high floor, and one had a high ceiling. I just think that that one was a complete team. They had all their hands on deck, and the other didn't. And even if the 49ers had all hands on deck, I just think they still would have lost the game. The Seattle Seahawks look like this is their year. Unfortunately, it's just for any other team out there. Yeah, I have no dog in that fight. I just think that, if I'm not a fan of the game, and if I look at that game and look at this team and see how they're playing, I'm going to say, wow, that's a really good team. I mean, they look like they just handled the 49ers on every aspect of the game, in which they did.
Well, let me ask you this. Who they haven't played yet, but who do you think has a better chance of winning in Seattle, the Rams or the Bears?
I just can't say. I would have to say the Rams if I had to pick out of those two, but I don't see neither one of them. I just by that play. This is the playoffs, and nobody gets blowed out like that. I mean, even if you do have injuries, I mean, everybody has injuries. They just look dominant, man. It just from an observatory standpoint, you're looking at a team. There was nothing that this team can do. There was nothing the 49ers can do. They just beat the crap out of them on both sides of the ball.
The Rams would have a serious chance of winning at Seattle. They have that type of team, that type of personnel. They can match them, up front on defense. And they have Matthew Stafford. They have these big game players. It would be ironic if they did play Cooper Kupp playing against his old team, the Rams, I don't know why they moved on from Cooper Kupp. I don't know why teams do that, why they move on from certain receivers who still have a lot left in the tank.
Money. It's all about money, typically. I mean, at some point you think you can let a guy, he's expendable because you don't want to pay him a certain amount of money because he reached a certain age. And,
Well, no, but even take a receiver like Devontae Adams on the Rams. You mean to tell me he wouldn't have been worth a couple of years ago a second-round draft choice to get him? But no one would have given that because they overestimate some of these draft choices, the value and what it could bring back. But sometimes there's certain. Yesterday there was a storyline. Sam Darnold was a 49er backup. and he was going against Brock Purdy, who the 49ers made the starter over him when the position was still in doubt at the time. But that wouldn't have been as big a storyline as if Sam Darnold was playing against the Vikings. He's always going to be linked to the Vikings, that they maybe should have stuck with them or not. And until Minnesota's quarterback situation gets straightened out, I think the specter Sam Darnold's going to hang over them, and people are going to say, what a mistake. But were the people in Minnesota up in arms when the Vikings decided to let Sam Darnold move on? It's easy to talk, after he's had a great year, with Seattle.
Yeah, hindsight's 2020. I mean, the fans are calling for that whole situation to be reversed too. But I mean, people that are avid football fans, I'm not talking about, these bandwagon fans or these fans that, watch their team and that's about all they watch. I knew that was a bad move from the start when the Vikings didn't re-sign him, or Daniel Jones for that matter. JJ needed another year. He remember he was injured a whole year. Yeah, he could have been at meetings and stuff like that, but it's not like being on a playing field and just watching things go on and having a QB, the starting QB, the veteran QB be in your ear about, him listening to the plays and how it's going to go and stuff like that. I just think that he just needed another year to mature in the sport. So that was just a bad move, I think, by Minnesota's front office. I think they could have kept Darnold for at least a year, regardless of what they thought the cap space was going to be. You can franchise tag the dude. Just do that. Just tell him, hey, look, we get you there. They got to be transparent too. So look, JJ is our quarterback of the future, but you are doing an absolute great job. And then when you leave here, you're going to have a fat contract because, well, he always did anyway, but you're going to have a fatter contract because you have succeeded with this team. And now you can go with another team and succeed better. Look at
Brian, they didn't need his permission. They could have franchise tagged Sam Darnold.
That's what I'm saying, Jack. That's what I'm saying, Jack. That's what they could have done, but they didn't do it. That was their fault right there.
So in that essence, in respects to that, maybe they were being fair to Sam Darnold because that gives him an opportunity to go to a team like Seattle or some contender that wants or potential contender that needs a quarterback. Because if you hold him and he okay, let's say he doesn't have a good year like he had previously, and he goes to a team. I mean, what is this? Where does this stop? In regards to free agency when he's done. And does he lose the money? Because I think the biggest point right there, he showed what he can do with a competent coach, competent team around him, and weapons around him. He showed that, okay, look, you put some things around me, I can have success. Minus the last two games that he had, if you look at the full totality of the season, Sam Darnold had a great season. He had a really great season. So if you franchise tag him and take 1 year away from him, he's, there's no telling what team he's going to be with. Maybe he goes back to another garbage team that needs a quarterback, and you don't really see the true potential of a Sam Darnold. So I think they might have done him a favor by not franchise tagging him.
Well, quarterback controversies
in Seattle
come out of nowhere. I mean, you even might have one in Atlanta now. They just hired Kevin Stefanski as their head coach, and you don't know what he's thinking. He's got Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix there, and it's easy to assume, well, if Michael Penix is healthy, he's going to be the starter. Kevin Stefanski owes Michael Penix nothing at all. That's not his guy, and he's seen Kirk Cousins play for years, so he might have an impression, I want Kirk Cousins to be my starter. That's going to be a very interesting story to see how that unfolds. But I'm sure that's come up in the interview process. Maybe the owner, Arthur Blake, wants him to go with Penix, and if that's the case, Stefanski will do that, which would be ironic coming from Cleveland and having an owner who wanted him to play Shedeur Sanders. That's what we assume, and him to go into a similar situation.
We will get to that one in a moment too, because that's another thing that I want to put out there. We just got to do the games right now. So what was your final word on Houston and New England, James?
Houston 20-16. 15. I'm counting on CJ Stroud predicting he plays a really good game. He looks more like the quarterback in his rookie year than at other times. That he's going to play really well, CJ Stroud.
What you got, James?
Oh
Any
yeah.
last thoughts?
I mean, oh look, I think C.J. Stroud. Speaking of C.J. Stroud, he's got weapons there. I mean, I know Nico Collins is out, but the two rookies that they got out of
Hutchinson
Iowa State, yeah,
and
is it
Noel.
Hutchins? Yeah,
Noel
Noel
Hutchinson and what's the
and
other guy?
is
They
it
got,
Jaden Higgins
and they got Christian Kirk too.
and Christian
Higgins.
Kirk?
Higgins is the other guy.
Hi-
Yep.
Hi- Higgins, yeah. So if they throw them the ball, I mean, if he can get them the ball, man, I mean, he's got. There's no excuses here. I mean, Nico Collins is out, but you got other players to throw to. I mean, I've seen Sam. I mean, not Sam Darnold, but I've seen Tyler Shuck with again second, and third stringers out there against Atlanta in that last game, and he was able to get guys the ball in the end zone that names that you don't even know. And that defense of Atlanta is actually really decent. I know we're going to speak of Stefanski soon enough, but I'll bring some points about that. But you got to play the game to win, man, and that's it. I mean, like the coach Kurt Herm says, you play to win the game, and there's no excuses here. So, but I like New England to win that game at home.
Yeah, you got to remember that that's not the only guy that they have too. They got the tight end.
Hutchinson, I think. Yeah.
Hutchinson, no, not Hutchinson. Xavier Hutchinson is a receiver. They got Harrison Bryant. They also have what's the other tight end's name? It's Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz is the other guy.
Schultz.
So I think he's going to be a very important part of this game for them to win this game. Them and the running backs got to step up. I think the Patriots have done a little bit better job of stopping the run, but they're kind of still sussy about the run too. So they have to make their living on the ground and throwing to their tight end. I got Houston in this one because I just think that defense is just too dominant. They're going to create too many opportunities for the offense, short fields, and that's going to and their kicker. Let's not forget about Houston's kicker. That dude is money. He's been saving a lot of their games this season when they had to have that field goal. So I wouldn't be surprised if they won just no touchdowns and they just won on field goals and maybe a defensive touchdown. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the score, So, I mean, I got Houston in this one. I think it'll be a lower scoring game again because both defenses are really good. Houston's number one overall defense, and I believe New England is 8th. So there's no slouches in this game. It's a defensive battle. Next game we're going to come to is the Sunday night game. The Rams are going to Chicago. The Rams, of course, are favored by 4. It's going to be elemental weather conditions here for Chicago. I think they're going to get a lot of snow. It's going to be really cold. The wind chill is going to probably be down in the minuses sometimes. So I heard that Matt Stafford's going to the game in a scuba gear outfit so you don't get cold. It's just a fan thing. But anyway, who do you got in this one, James, and why?
So Matthew Stafford is presumably the MVP of the regular season. I in my opinion, I just think the numbers are there. I think the numbers are there. I think and Drake May is up there too. So, but I think the numbers are there. I think he's played well. He had a couple of doozies at the end of the season, so that might cost him that. But I think enough sentimental votes for a guy at his age and what he's done might get him that get him over the hump for that weapon. I mean, but with that said, he's got the weapons there. He's got the running game there. I don't like Chicago's defense against the run, and I think Blake Corum and Kyron Williams can run the ball and continue first downs. And these offenses kind of mirror each other. I was going to go with Chicago because I like both coaches here. I think this is a game of chess because, like I said, both offenses are really good. They kind of mirror each other with the receivers, with their running backs, with their quarterbacks, and obviously the one with more experience here in Matthew Stafford, but a very good quarterback in Caleb Williams. I just think that it's going to be just enough at home, being at home, and excuse me, they're going to Chicago. Just
Yeah.
enough though, in that cold weather, like you said, he's probably going to have scuba gear on. I saw that too. I think they do just enough to win the game. I think it's a close game. I think it's going to be a high scoring game because I don't think neither defense, even though the Rams have a decent defense, I still think Caleb Williams, when he's on and he finds it maybe in a certain quarter, he can turn it up, man, and light it up. And so I think it's maybe like a 27-24 game. And I got the Rams winning this game.
What you got, Jack?
Yeah, I essentially agree with you, James. I mean, I was sitting down. I like to mark down a projected score. I put down like 28-23. And Jared Verse, I mean, very underrated linebacker, one of the best in the NFL with Byron Young. And, Caleb Williams is a gunslinger. I like him. He's got the heart of a lion. He never gets discouraged. And I don't see him getting discouraged in a game like this, but he's going to make a share of mistakes. I mean, the Rams defense is really tough. Really tough. They bend, but they don't break. And they're a big play team as well. And they've been there before, those guys. They've been there. I'm a little concerned always the weather factor going to Chicago. You guys would laugh, but me, even as a fan, you give me a free ticket, I'm not going to the game. I'm watching on TV. I'm not sitting in that weather. And with me saying that, you better believe the mindset of some of the players it's going to be affected by this weather because it's about attitude. You hear the term, it's all about attitude. The attitude coming to the game of some of the players, and this is what concerns me about the Rams coming from a warmer weather climate than Chicago could be. I just want to play the game and get it over with. Just get out of there. I forgot who the Giant player was, but he was saying when they went overtime against the Packers to see who would get to the Super Bowl, he said it got to the point he stopped caring about whether they won or lost the game. He just wanted to get it over with. And I can kind of understand that. When I was younger, I actually sat through cold weather games. New York Jet, Kansas City Chiefs game, it was freezing. I went to the game. You sit through it. Some people can bear the elements. I mean, I can't. Listen, I went to a game in Miami 3 years ago. Aaron Rodgers last game with the Packers about 3-4 years ago. And believe it or not, it was the coldest day in Miami in 30 years. 30 years. It was a high in like 46, and it got cold as we went along. And we're sitting in the upper deck, and I remember one guy cracked us up. He says, "Welcome to the frozen tundra Lambeau Field," even though we're in Miami. And like I'm with layers in Miami, I didn't have to clothes at my place. I had to go out shopping. And I'm wearing different layers and having hot chocolate. And this would be a picnic compared to what the weather is going to be in Chicago. Come on, guys. I think elements, you never underestimate them. I mean, you see these idiot fans with their shirts off over there, I mean, come on. And we want to glorify that. And what's the attitude going to be for the Rams? Because I think the Bears, living this, being in Chicago, psychologically, it's a little bit of an advantage. But with that said, I mean, the Rams, Davante Adams is going to be back as good as ever over the hamstring injury. And I just think the Rams, a better big play team. And I know the great comeback the Bears waged against the Packers. They wouldn't be able to do that against the Rams. I mean, not at all. Yeah. And it's going to be a close game. I look for Matthew Stafford to be Matthew Stafford, make the big plays, the Rams to keep a step ahead of them. And it could be the type of game where the Bears have the ball and need a touchdown on the last possession and Caleb Williams gets intercepted, that type of game. I'll say Rams 28, Bears 23.
Yeah, I have the Rams as well. I think the cold weather thing to me is just hype. You got to remember some of these players played in college in cold weather. So that's not going to be nothing new for a lot of these players. Some of them way up in the north. in Wyoming and, wherever, Wisconsin, Michigan. Those are cold weather teams and cold weather college teams. And those players are playing on these teams right now. So it's going to affect both sides of the ball. So it's just whoever can overcome that in this game, will be the better team. I think the Rams are the better team. I know James is always getting at me about my choice of picks, over Chicago, but I'm not picking this based on, my dislike for any NFC North teams. I'm making this pick because Chicago really doesn't have a very good defense. The thing that stands out about their defense is turnovers, which Stafford has to take care of the ball. This is a pinpoint in the games that they lost in these last four, the last few games they played. Stafford was the catalyst in these losses. A quarterback can lose you the game. Against the Panthers directly, they were in that game. They were in that game the whole game. They could have won that game, as a matter of fact. But Stafford had two crucial interceptions, one in the red zone, and then one that was returned for a pick six. And then he had a ball in the last, and they strip sacked him. You got to hold on to the ball. I guess a team that's number one in turnovers, you must do that. The defense for the Rams is better than Green Bay's defense and in the playoffs. I'm just saying. I'm not saying because they didn't have Micah Parsons, they didn't have Devontae Wyatt in the lineup. So that crippled them a little bit. And their cornerbacks aren't the greatest. The safeties are good, but their cornerbacks aren't the greatest. So we'll have to see what Chicago brings, because Chicago has Jalen Johnson, and that's about it to me. And if this is any indication too, Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, those are proven receivers. And don't forget about Parkinson. Parkinson's a great tight end. He's been doing a lot of their dirty work for him too. And again, what James alluded to, the running game. The running game is going to be all important. You got Kyrie Williams and my guy from Michigan, Blake Corum, running through that line. And Blake Corum's been playing very well as of late too. I think he's been actually the running back one in the last 3 or 4 games. So watch for that. Chicago's defense, they're great on turnovers, but that covers up the fact that they're like 23rd or 20. I think they're like 28th in defense right now. Well, before they went into the playoffs. So, I mean, they're not a very good defense, and the turnovers do kind of cover that fact up. Kind of like I kind of alluded to that to the Lions when they were winning a lot with their defense wasn't that good, but they were getting turnovers. So it covered the fact up that their defense wasn't that good. But yeah, Chicago, I just can't see them winning this game just because of that defensive factor. Offenses are going to be exploding. I do give you guys that the offenses are going to be great. I think Caleb is going to step up a little bit. I think we're going to see what Caleb is made of in this game too. Ben Johnson and Steven, you can ask for a better coaching matchup than this one as far as offensively goes. In saying that, we'll probably see like a 10-7 game. You never know. Like I said, every time I try to pick big on these games, they end up being small. Every time I go small, they end up being big. So I mean, whatever the case may be. But
I think you're underestimating the Bear receivers. CJ Moore, Dunzy. I think you're maybe underestimating them.
I'm not underestimating them. I said the offenses are good, Jack. Both of them. I just think that Rams have a more veteran receiving core than what Chicago has. And Dunze is a dog. He is really good. And DJ Moore, he brings that veteran presence to this. So, I mean, they got, what's the other guy? Thaddeus?
Luther. And they have Luther Burden. Yeah.
Luther Burden, yeah.
And I know the guy that played in Atlanta, Zakay. I can't think of
something like that. But anyway, he's a very good underrated receiver too. And then they got two of the top. They got two pretty good tight ends, and
Kmet and Loveland.
Yeah. So I mean, their offenses are comparable. I can tell you that right now. It's just the quarterback play that's going to show up. If Caleb can go out there and be the Caleb of the fourth quarter against Green Bay.
And let's not include the weather, because the weather, if you look like Jack, you mentioned what the Rams did last year in the playoffs against the Eagles. They almost win that game. And they played in a snowy game. It was a big time snowy game, right? if I recollect.
But it
Yeah.
wasn't as freezing. I mean, this is absolute freezing. It's one thing, cold, snow, miserable weather, but if it's so bitter, you're talking about around 0 degrees, wind chill factor. To me, that's absolutely brutal. Look, when I
Yeah.
was young, I used to run marathons. And I remember one NFL game, NFL Sunday. I went out Sunday to run, and it was 4 degrees out. I went out, a few minutes, and I went back to the car. I can't take this. This is absolutely untakeable. I went back home. I mean, that was the closest I came to a taster, close to 0 degrees. And they got to keep their hands warm. That's the thing about it too. And you're sitting on the sideline, and you got to tackle guys and get physical. It's not like you're just sitting in the stands and you're bearing the elements. You got to knock guys around and make
Jack, this
plays
is not
in that way.
1957. They have made advances so you can keep your hands warm
I
and all that
know,
stuff.
I know, but
And on top of that, the adrenaline being in a playoff game. If this was a regular season game, you could probably attribute weather to certain things. But during a playoff game, both these teams are going to have a lot of adrenaline, and that blood's going to be pumping through there. So
one of the coldest games in NFL history was when the Bengals went to the Super Bowl. I think it was around 1982 or something. I'm approximately 81. I forgot the year. They beat the San Diego Chargers. I think they shut them out something like 21-0. I met someone who was from Cincinnati, and they went to the game. And they said they were in the stands. As soon as they saw the Bengal players run out in short sleeves, they knew it was over. They had the game won. San Diego came out all bundled up, and they just kind of knew on the elements. And you kind of wonder in the back of your mind, could this possibly work against LA this game? I know you're mentioning college players where they play. They probably hated that weather in college. We don't know how they perform.
it doesn't make a difference though, Jack. They played in it. That's the point. I mean, they had to play in the weather.
You got to play it, but the point I'm trying to make, the mindset, is it more about winning what's at stake, or is it about surviving? Because if you're a player, you have to play this game. You can't call in sick. You're not working in an office job. I can't come in today. You have to come in unless you're seriously ill, or seriously injured or whatever. And they show up. Is it to, just get the game done with? Or is winning such a focus that everything else is put out of their mind except we got to win this darn game? I don't
it's
know.
a playoff game, Jack.
Yeah,
you don't think these teams are going to be up to
be
it to that? If this is a regular season game, if it was a regular season game, I can say that. But this is a playoff game. Definitely, you're going to want to win the game. That's the whole point. Because one and done.
Of course. But once you hit those elements, you can't wait to get out of there. I mean, listen, that's why I have admiration for Super Bowl II when the Packers went to the Super Bowl, the Ice Bowl against the Cowboys. They had no footing, those guys. I mean, that was the worst condition with it freezing and so on. But I guess you're right. I mean, if you're so focused into the game, you could maybe put other things out of your mind. But I think it's a factor. But it could also work against the home team, because Eli Manning outplayed Brett Favre in Green Bay to go to the Super Bowl. And you'd think Brett Favre would be a little more used to the elements.
I'm going to tell you this, though. I kind of believe in this with the weather factor. Whoever scores first, the team that's down is going to drop emotionally a little bit. Say LA goes down there and scores a touchdown. Chicago's like, dang, this team is from the South. They came in here in our elements, and they already scored a touchdown on us. That's going to drop your morale a little bit. Then if it's to the Rams, same difference, because it's like, oh, dang, I got to play in this snow for at least another into the whole game, because now we got to come back here and tie the game up. So I think really the first score of the game is going to tell you, and how the teams respond is going to tell you how that game's going to go. So I do believe it does play a little mental game with you, but at the same time, there's so much on the line. I think the players will come out pumped up, and they won't care about the weather. I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams came out there, a couple of guys in shorts. It's all a mental thing. That doesn't work too much anymore in this day and age. That was great for back in the day, but now it doesn't really work too much. People were looking at you like, well, he's just crazy anyway. So like, how?
No, they're trying to cite themselves in this day and age. So you're coming out short sleeves, nothing bothers me.
Mm-hmm. That's true too. You might psych yourself out into frostbite, but whatever. It's like Mike Holland. He'll go out there in bare feet.
But believe me, it's heavily in the preparation. You know, I'm reading things like when they're even drinking water, if it gets on a guy's face a little bit, it starts freezing up into ice. You know, so it's with you all the time.
Hot Gatorade. No.
Those big, huge they're going to have those huge heaters on the sideline.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different.
They got a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
This is in 1968.
Bud Grant, the legendary Viking coach who took the Vikings to 4 Super Bowls and they lost them all, not consecutively the way the Bills did. He didn't allow hand warmers on the side, even at practice in freezing weather. Wouldn't even allow hand warmers. They, but that was the mentality that some coaches wouldn't allow players to drink water. That was the sick mentality of the day. And if you had a headache, get back in the darn game. You're a wimp.
And that's where that CTE became a problem later on.
Yeah.
For the coaches or the players. Anyway, all right, so we got our picks in for that. By the way, I'm 7-1. I just want to let you know that. But anyway, the Chargers let me down. You know, Chargers, come on, man.
You're picking an upset. If you were a little conservative that game, picking New England, you would be unbeaten now.
Yeah, this is true. But I just don't think you see Keith even admitting to the fact that defense, and that's San Diego's LA's defense, getting to Drake May and hustling. Houston is twice the defense that is. So if you can imagine that's why I'm saying I should have picked probably New England then and not picked them this time, which I didn't. But the point of the matter is I didn't know. Yeah, I'm just kind of weird about Drake May right now. He's still a second-year quarterback. Well, he's still probably going to be in those situations where he'll make mistakes. I'm just looking at it like that.
Can I say something? Kudos to the coaches remaining because they're difference makers, major difference makers. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking of the Jets. If I had one of those coaches, it would make all the difference, But Mike Vrabel, major difference maker, another coach wouldn't have done what he did. I mean, Sean Payton at Denver, another coach wouldn't have did what he did. D'Amico Ryan, they hit gold immediately with the Texans. Great young coach. And Sean McVay, what could you say about him? I mean, proven, winner there. Ben Johnson taking over. I mean, I think the Bears were ready to jump up anyway, quite honestly. Ben Johnson or not, but Ben Johnson apparently is the right guy to position there. And I'm not saying it because they're left and they're winning these teams, but all those guys are difference makers, like a Jim Harbaugh, difference maker, even though they're out of the playoffs. And you see certain coaches, I mean, it means so much who you're hiring. I mean, you could get away maybe with a so-so coach in another sport, but the NFL, it really needs the right guy there. And I think all the names I mentioned, you put them on any team, you give them to my team, the Jets, and I think they make a world of difference. Team. All the guys I mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that segues into our next topic too. Thanks, James. Or Jack. We got some coach signings this week. One of them was John Harbaugh to the New York Giants. We finally got that one hammered out a couple of days ago for 5 years, $100 million. Now, I know we have a lot of people and fans that we talk to that are Giant fans and really absolutely love this signing, and they should. I mean, John Harbaugh, he's up here. He's a very good coach. But how do you guys feel about this signing for the Giants?
Well, guys, I feel the Giants are ready to get better regardless. They just need the right guy and their number candidates. I mean, they have such good personnel on defense. I mean, and it was a mystery that their front four, didn't do much
Mhm.
better last year. Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, who had a great year,
W.
and so on. He's going to make a difference. But they're hinging part of their future on Jackson Dart. Is he going to stay healthy? We don't know how good Jackson Dart might ultimately be. He might, turn into, I don't want to say J.J. McCarthy, because J.J. McCarthy might be good next year for all we know. He might. But, Malik Neighbors, elite wide receiver, they're going to get in someone beside him. Don't tell me about the guys who stepped up and made catches otherwise, because someone's got to catch the ball and make catches. Someone's got to run the ball. You're always going to have one guy who's going to look good on a losing team. But it's a good hire. John Harbaugh's a proven guy. He's solid. I think the franchise was going to tick upwards regardless. And with John Harbaugh, he's given a honeymoon period, guys. He can afford to go 7-10 his first year. I don't think he's going to have a fan base who's going to get fed up with him.
You
Good
think that's
hire, good solid hire. He's got the good personality, John Harbaugh, as well. A very good personality.
Do you think that's going to be their ceiling, 7-10?
No. The Giants potentially can make the playoffs next year, potentially. But
Reality,
I don't think so. Honestly, their ceiling next year, you're talking about the very best logically they could do, maybe a 9-8. They're probably going to, tick upwards to, I think, like a 7-10 team. But if things fall into place, look at the Bears. They were so good this year because the year before they lost so many close games that they won this year. Giants lost a number of games they could have won this year that they're probably going to win some of them next year.
Agree with that. I totally agree with that. And I guess that kind of goes to you're going to come to me next. I think it's a great hire. It was the best option that was out there. If that's available right now, it was the best option. And I think Coach Harbaugh will definitely shore up this team and make them a little more disciplined. And I totally agree with Jack that the Giants lost some very close games this year. It's disappointing games. And, look, they got the number 5 pick overall. There's a great pick that you can get at that position right there. Best available, let's just say maybe Cornell Tate, wide receiver out of Ohio State, to match up with Malik Neighbors, or you can get Jeremiah Love to have a running back to play with, because we don't know how that was a very tough injury for Scatterboo. And how does he recover from that? How does he bounce back from that? Maybe you need to get a Jeremiah Love to come in. And, do you have faith in Tyrone Tracy that's already there? I don't know if I do, especially if I'm, you can never have enough good running backs anyway. And do you pick one at number 5? I'm not sure. You look at what Ashton Genty did, and where he was picked at and where he was projected to do. He did okay. I mean, there's the jury's still out because that offensive line was horrendous. So give him a little bit of break. But I think that you get some free agents in there. Maybe you don't draft a running back. Maybe some of those guys like Kenneth Walker is going to become a free agent. Maybe you bring in a Kenneth Walker there. Maybe you draft an offensive lineman and shore up that offensive line because they're definitely going to need that. Your quarterback maybe doesn't have to run and play recklessly and end up with 7 or 8 concussions in the season. So I just think those are the things. Yes, learn to slide. I think this is where the coach comes in that has the experience and has the championship pedigree to be able to galvanize, pull guys together and make sure they're doing their job, what they're supposed to do, and putting them in positions to succeed. And I think that's what John Harbaugh can do. I like the hire. I agree with Jack to some degree. Maybe they can go 7-10 this first season. What I don't agree with him is I think that the team will give them a long leash, but the fan base in New York is definitely not
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Not the
They're
first
not.
year,
Jack
James.
knows
Not the first year. They're not going to get on them as long as the team is competitive. The fans aren't that bad. It's not like a situation like a Pittsburgh with
Or
Tomlin.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philadelphia. Yeah, they're not that bad. You know, you mentioned Kenneth Walker. Seattle's not going to let him go. He's not going to. Yeah, they'll pay him the money, but it would be ironic. The Giants wouldn't pay Saquon Barkley, but they'll pay bigger money to go after Kenneth Walker, who's a heck of a running back. Don't get me wrong.
Maybe they learn from their mistakes, Jack. Maybe they learn from their mistakes.
Maybe to try to move on from the Barkley thing. And, you know, I like Case lining him up opposite Neighbors as a wide receiver getting drafted. I mean, that would be a good draft pick. You know, you want to give Jackson Dart another weapon if you can, because I think your defense is pretty good all in all as is. But again, you want to take the best play available. Bottom line, that's what any team should do all the time, unless it's a quarterback. Obviously, you're not going to take the best play available if he's going to be a backup quarterback. But any other position, you can play him. You can play him. You never have too many receivers or running backs to me. And like you make a good point about Scatterboo, we don't know how he's going to come back. And even if he comes back, even though he has the heart of a lion and everyone loves him, is reckless abandon, is he really a number one running back even when healthy?
I thought
That's why we
that
don't
like,
know.
and that's why I thought he was drafted appropriately where he was drafted. I mean, as great as he played for Arizona State, you can see the good things and you can see the flaws. I mean, speed is one, and that's another thing. He's okay, but he's a great receiver out of backfield, and he's, like you said, he plays with reckless abandon. But that injury, man, to his knee, that it wasn't just an ACL. It was multiple tears to different things, and wasn't it a fracture too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He had two injuries in the same leg.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I wish him well. That he bounced back, man.
I've been seeing videos of him in rehab and stuff like that. He's got a positive mindset, and if you got that mentality, you should come back pretty well.
Well, Waddle is going to be a free agent, supposedly. Be available. He's someone to look at because he wants to leave Carolina
because he wants to be a featured running back.
And the Giants, he could be, but he could be that with the Giants. He could be that. Why not?
He would be a fan favorite in New York. I'm just telling you. The mentality that he has, I mean, you saw how they love Scatterboo, but this guy, if you can get, and then he likes to put himself in the media too, big time fan favorite out there. You know,
and the Cowboys, the rivalry with the Cowboys, the way he would get into
exactly.
And it would psych the team. It would psych the team, give them a certain energy, a certain attitude. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. But in order to do that, though, you got to shore up that offensive line. That they have really been just not good over the past few years.
They drafted so poorly on the offensive line. Don't do it with the high draft. Don't even think about it with the high.
They need to go right. Exactly. They probably should go in. Right. Edwards out of Buffalo, the left guard, great player, Pro Bowl player. Everybody's gonna be vying for his services when the season's done. So if the Giants probably need to get that, again, you need protection for your quarterback, and you also need to be able to run the ball. So,
that's the first thing you need to correct. Just sound like what Ben Johnson did in Chicago. The first thing he corrected on that line, that offensive line, he came in there and fixed the offensive line. That's what you need to do, and that's what the Giants need to do. I heard that Tyler Linderbaum didn't get his fifth-year option picked up by the Ravens. Not that I'm saying that he'll be a free agent, but that gives you a little bit of hint. He said if that goes, he might follow Harbaugh to the Giants. That would be good. Yeah. There's nothing that can afford him. I think they can afford him. Yeah, the Giants can afford him. Yeah. So that would be a man. You get Linderbaum on that offensive line, dude. He's the centerpiece of that offensive line. All you got to do is just fill in the gaps. That's it.
Their best offensive lineman is their left tackle, and that's anybody else. That's shaky. Yes. So they really need to shore up that offensive line big time. And I think the coach, I mean, he's built on running the ball and having an RPO quarterback, and you got that in Jackson Dart, and you just need a good running back and a good offensive line.
Guys, the other hirings, Kevin Stefanski going to Atlanta, like I mentioned before. He'll resolve his quarterback situation. I don't know whether the Falcon organization told him they're committed to Michael Penix. They shouldn't be. I don't care. You're already there a couple of seasons. You have injuries. It's not your fault. You're injured, but you're not on the field. That's the way it is. And the Falcons really don't have a quarterback of the future right now, unless Penix somehow comes back next year, is healthy, and he's lights out. But you can't count on that. And that position's unresolved. But the Falcons job's a real good job. There's a team that's ready to go from 8-9 to double-digit victories, and they're going to be the favorites to win the division next year. But they're always the favorites.
Well, yeah, because they got a good team. They just lack coaching. That's what it is.
And now they got the coach.
Kevin Stefanski. I mean, there's a person that said that was a bad hire because look what he did in Cleveland. I mean, I had to point out, well, A, it is Cleveland. And B, he was the one that was the Watson and kicking Mayfield out too. That was the other, things about him. That's not a good look. But I think what he needs is just a capable team, period. I think Atlanta's that capable team. I know they don't have really a significant play caller yet. But, I mean, because Kirk Cousins is talking about retiring or going into TV or something like that right now. And that leaves Penix and whoever the other quarterback is on there. Who's the other quarterback on there, James? The third string?
I'm not sure, honestly. No.
On Atlanta?
Yeah, for Atlanta. Because
Kirk Cousins is not retiring. He's not retiring. Especially if he has an opportunity to start. And especially if he knows you got stability at the head coach position. You got a two-time coach of the year.
This is his last year in a contract, isn't it? So
he's got one this year, right? So he can play this year, I would say, because it's $10 million he's owed, and I think they're restructuring to where they can maneuver things around there. So either he gets traded or he stays in and competes as quarterback. Michael Penix won't be ready by the start of the season, and even then, with a coach coming in, as Jack said, he may not be their guy, and so there's competition there. So, and you're probably going to bring in another veteran quarterback also to either be the second string or third string to come in. I think Kirk Cousins has a good opportunity to compete and be the starter for Game 1 in 26.
And so, Atlanta, but not elsewhere.
In Atlanta, yes, for sure. Stefanski's not afraid to play an older guy. He played Flacco, much older. So and start him. So I wouldn't doubt Stefanski comes in and say like, hey, Kurt, let's do some things here. Let's go in and play. And Stefanski has already made offense. They're already there. You just gave him the keys to a Lamborghini. He's probably giddy right now. He can't wait to get in there and dial up some plays. Let's not forget Stefanski went to Penn. So an Ivy League school. He's a very smart guy. I think there were some things questionable here, but I think he did the best that he could in a dysfunctional situation. That organization is totally dysfunctional, and the evidence showed itself. But even then, when he had Baker Mayfield, he was able to win. I don't know why they got rid of Baker, but I mean, again.
Well, no revisionist thinking. At the time, they got Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He had baggage off the field, but as far as on the field, he was elite. It just didn't work out, you could look at all the different reasons. I'm not going to get into that. But Baker had 2 good years out of 4 there. But Watson was the better quarterback at the time. Okay, it was a little bit of a gamble, but it was a gamble worth taking because you were getting an elite quarterback at the time. Listen, Cleveland now has got 3 quarterbacks, and you could say they have none. I mean, they got Watson. You play him 1 year, he might be the best of the 3 next year. But the question is, if he has a good year, You're not going to sign him to a new contract at big quarterback money. You got Dylan Gabriel. Who knows? He needs time. Shedeur Sanders, I think our fascination with Shedor's over. He did okay. He did passable, but that's about it. But we wanted to see something special. We didn't want to see a guy just get a passing grade, get a 65, 70 on his test and then leave the room. We wanted to see a 90 or whatever. So,
I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Stefanski went after Gabriel Dillon. I mean, he's the one, Dylan Gabriel. He was the one that he picked in the draft anyway. So I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to make a play for Cleveland, that quarterback. I mean, they got a hefty quarterback room right now. So, and if they stay with Shedeur, because I think that's what the owner wants to stay with, then there's going to be somebody hitting the dirt.
And I got
then you're going to you do. I want to say this. You do that, then you're going to change the fan base's mind about about who they got as their coach, because they saw the sample size of Dylan Gabriel there, and these are probably people would think you should have taken Shedeur Sanders here in the Atlanta market versus a Dylan Gabriel. Well, I just think that
I like to point though. I'm sorry, James, but I like to point though that if they do have Kurt there, that Dylan can play behind, will be behind him and learn that, do it the proper way you're supposed to do rookie quarterbacks, no matter where you draft them at, and then let him sit behind Kirk for a while and get that veteran presence. And then, when Kirk goes on his merry way, you have a relatively intelligent quarterback out there that may not make the same mistakes that he did when he was in Cleveland. So there's that too. I didn't say he was going to start. I just said he might grab him to be a backup to Kurt, so he learns. So, but go ahead, James.
There's something interesting going on now with Trinidad Chambliss. I want to mention, guys, going to court to see if he gets his eligibility. If he gets his college eligibility, if he wins his case, there's only one quarterback in the draft worth taking, Fernando Mendoza, who's going to go to the Raiders number 1. And I'm going to tell you, the Jets go second. I know they need a quarterback. If they take Ty Simpson, or if Chambliss is available and they don't take him and they take Ty Simpson, I've had it. I'm firing the GM. I'm firing the coach. I can't do it at that moment because it would look bad. But the Jets get off to an 0-2 start. Aaron Glenn is gone. The GM is gone. It would be stupid that they're not taking Brock Bowers. They wind up taking Ty Simpson because they're reaching for quarterback at number 2 overall. I mean, taking him at number 16 would be bad, but at least I could live with that, as bad as it would be. But if they took Ty Simpson number 2 overall, that is outrageously off the charts.
You're going to die on that sword, aren't you, Jack?
Oh, no, I'm telling you, but don't. I mean...
If the Jets, if Chambliss is available, I'm not taking him at number 2 overall. What I'm doing is,
you won't get him.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. He's not gonna be in the top 10. I'm just telling you. Mm-hmm. You can drop back into the 20s, and he still might not be there. I mean, he still might be there. I'm just telling you, there's too many other good players that you can take that you can plug and play in and get. If you take him, I think you're wasting your draft pick. Maybe the Jets can back out and take some other good players and load up in there, because it looks like they need to load up anyway. You need a lot, both offensively and defensively.
If he's playing at college, if he's playing next year, wins his case, I would move down in the draft. I would look to trade, get additional draft capital for someone who might want to move up to number 2. If anyone wants to move up bad enough, that's going to give me a viable deal.
That's fair. On that note, we are going to conclude this show. Just a note. Also, Matt LaFleur got re-extended, so you don't have to worry about those conversations going on about where he's going to go. Other than that, everybody have a great rest of your Sunday. Just watch some playoff games. Monday is the national championship between 2 great teams, the Miami Hurricanes and the Indiana Hoosiers. It's kind of hard to say in the same sentence, Indiana Hoosiers, but hey, they're there and they're a dominant team. So we'll see what happens on Monday. Join Jack and Keith on Monday morning, 8:00 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Weekend Playbook. And then, of course, Jack and Frank on the Gloved Fist at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And go over to the Stream of Conscious show and give Keith a little love over there after this show. Other than that, everybody have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you later.